Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And we'll try to share the screen here. And there we go, March 3rd in Asia. Where did February go? Already in March. See what we have today. Our first topic, we're continuing 4 padas of Saiva Siddhanta. Charya, conduct, Kriya, worship, yoga, meditation, and jnana, enlightenment. And today we're on the Jnana Pada, the 4th of the 4 progressive stages of practice in Saiva Siddhanta. This pada focuses on meditation that regularly reaches the deepest level, known as Nirvikalpa Samadhi, in which the yogi realizes Parashiva, the highest and transcendent aspect of Shiva. It has 4 stages. Charya Jnana consists of cleaning the meditation room or portion of a room and the collection of all the necessary substances for worshipping one's guru and deities relating to meditation. So that's typical Charya, getting the physical premises in order. Kriya Jnana consists of offering a prayer, chant, or a short puja to one's guru and the guru's lineage after beseeching the grace of any deities your guru has asked you to worship prior to meditation. So that's our monistic theism. Worship of deities and meditation is interrelated. Yoga in jnana is to focus on daily re-experiencing the ultimate meditative state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the realization of Parashiva. It is popularly thought that it is enough to experience this state once to achieve realization. That is not true. Parashiva must be regularly re-experienced over many years. This re-experiencing process brings its realization throughout the entirety of one's being. As Gurudev explains in Merging with Shiva, lesson 34, Parashiva has to be experienced time after time for it to impregnate all parts of the body. Ears, eyes, nose, throat, all parts of the body have to realize Parashiva, and the Siddha has to do this consciously. The calves have to realize Parashiva. All the parts of the lower body have to realize Parashiva, because all of those Tala chakras have to come into that realization. So that's knowledge you don't commonly find there. Jnana is the state of mind of being more than doing. Try that again. Jnana is the state of arrival, of being more than doing. The difference is internal, with the jnani being always aware that it is Shiva doing it all, not him. For him there is no effort in the doing and no necessity to do anything more. This blissful, uninterrupted perception is the ripe fruit of accumulated experiential knowledge gained by these practices. Jnana Pada is also called the Sanmarga, meaning true path, for here God is our dearest beloved, implying transcendence of individuality and merger with the divine. The Patavi attainment of this pada is Sayujya, union with God. Manikavasagar is the Samyacharya, who exemplifies the Jnana Pada. As well as mentioning specific goals to be achieved in meditation in the Jnana Pada, Tirumandaram states in verse 1474 that jnana and jnana is to transcend the I and mine. This is not referring to the basic form of detachment, which is to be detached from the fruits of one's actions. It refers to ceasing to identify as a person who was born and will die. It means identifying with omnipresent, loving consciousness throughout one's daily activities. Identifying with Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. This attainment is the result of repeated experiences of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which result in the Kundalini Shakti residing coiled in the Sarasvara chakra. It is a permanent state of oneness with Shiva. Following verse from the Sarva Jnanottara Agama clearly elucidates this Jnana Pada practice of giving up identifying as a person and identifying instead as Shiva's omnipresent consciousness. Shiva is different from me. Actually, I am different from Shiva. The highly refined seeker should avoid such sort of vicious notion of difference. He who is Shiva is indeed myself. Let him always contemplate this non-dual union between Shiva and himself. One who is with one-pointed meditation of such non-dual unity gets himself established within his own self, always and everywhere. The Yoga Pada and Jnana Pada are quite similar. Each relates to the deepest state of meditation, which is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. The difference between them is the question for you to answer. What do you think the difference between them is? The difference between them is that in the Yoga Pada, there is the initial experience of that samadhi, whereas in the jnana state, there is the frequent re-experience of that samadhi. It is this regular repetition of Nirvikalpa Samadhi which causes profound changes in the yogi, such as living in the Sayuja state. Oh, that's a nice explanation of the difference there. Though the experience of Parashiva achieved in Nirvikalpa Samadhi cannot be described, Gurudeva gave us some sense of this realization in these insights. If you visualize above you nothing, below you nothing, to the right of you nothing, to the left of you nothing, in front of you nothing, and back of you nothing, and dissolve yourself into that nothingness, that would be the best way you could explain the realization of the self. And yet that nothingness would not be the absence of something like the nothingness inside an empty box, which would be like a void. That nothingness is the fullness of everything, the power, the sustaining power of the existence of what appears to be everything. In Saiva Siddhanta terminology, atattva, the negation of tattva, is the term used to describe the indescribable reality, the absolute Parashiva, the self-God, which transcends all 36 categories, tattvas, of manifestation. It is beyond time, form, and space. Sarva Jnanottara Agama gives this description. This self is neither inside the body nor outside the body, neither is it at a greater distance nor at a closer point. It is in a supreme space beyond the range of 36 tattvas and of the worlds contained in them. It's really very nice. The refined seeker should install his mind in that supreme place. Gurudeva taught that in the Jnana Pada, each time the yogi enters Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he returns to consciousness more and more than nowhere. His perspective of Shivoham, I am Shiva, steadily deepens. Gurudeva also taught that it is the helping hand of Shiva that reaches down from the Ajna chakra and lifts one up. One cannot do it alone. In jnana, the yogi himself is now the source of light and darshan, which he radiates. So that's the difference between beholding the inner light and being the inner light. So now he's being the inner light, not just beholding it as something separate from himself. Well, congratulations to us. We completed our 4 parts of Saiva Siddhanta. Second topic, continuing 9 key spiritual qualities in children to cultivate. 7th quality to develop is proficiency in conflict resolution. So they all begin with a C, B a P. Proficiency in conflict resolution. Proficiency in conflict resolution is exemplified when we work out disagreements with others by using intelligence and seeking for a win-win situation. That's a nice statement there. Using intelligence rather than emotion, seeking for a win-win situation rather than I win, you lose situation, which is common. You're seeking an I win, you lose situation using emotion. So this is seeking a we both win situation using intelligence. How is this cultivated in youth? How would you answer that question? And one word answer is example. It is through the parents demonstrating these qualities themselves. Children learn that this behavior is expected of them by observing their parents' actions. So as I often say in summarizing Gurudeva's teachings, take, for example, husband and wife. It's unrealistic to say husband and wife will never disagree. One being a man, the other being a woman, look at things totally differently. So disagreement is a given, but it's how we handle the disagreement that's the key. Okay, I'll do it your way this time, but next time you do it my way. You know, we need compromise and intelligence rather than emotion. Diplomacy is taught by sitting down with children anytime they use anger, physical force, or verbal injury to prevail in a conflict, discussing with them how it could have been settled with intelligence rather than violence. It is replacing the idea of I want me to win and you to lose with that of I win when everybody wins. Kids can learn from parents that it is through taking a humble attitude rather than a dominant position that conflicts are resolved smoothly and easily. Illustrations of what to do and what not to do can be drawn from the people they see in television and movies. Talked about that before. We can use it as a learning tool as well as entertainment. Don't want to take all the entertainment out of it. Proficiency in conflict resolution is nurtured by parents resolving their husband and wife disagreements before going to sleep, as this teaches, by example, the importance of facing and solving a conflict rather than fleeing from it. Mastery of resolving differences keeps our young ones' lives sublime and their subconscious minds free of the disturbances caused by memories of unresolved disagreements. And our third topic, questions sent to satsang@hindu.org. How is mental illness such as clinical depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and anxiety disorders understood in Hinduism? What is the approach? So, my experience, and Gurudeva's is the same, is fairly limited to simple forms of mental problems, such as mild depression and mild anxiety. Once you get beyond that level, I really can't answer the question. The milder ones can be treated in ways that a Western approach would not use, so that's valuable. Following slides use some terms from Gurudeva's Shum language, but the slides are understandable even if you are not familiar with those terms. The 4 perspectives and personal problems. Gurudeva commented, to psychoanalyze your problems would be in the Mulif perspective. So Mulif means philosophy. To take them to the feet of Lord Murugan would be the Dimfi perspective, which is theism. To move awareness away from the problem into a happier state of mind and then look back and understand the karmas involved is the Shumif perspective. That's meditation. To be injected by a psychiatrist with a chemical drug to alleviate the problem would be the Simnif perspective, which is science. So all 4 perspectives are good. There's not trying to imply one is better than the other when it comes to mild mental problems. They're all useful. Let's take a common day modern problem, minor depression, and look at how the problem can be solved through each of these 4 approaches. Simnif science perspective is often favored, which is taking a prescription drug such as Prozac to chemically alter our mood. Discussing the problem with a counselor, psychologist, or psychiatrist is the solution from the Muli for philosophical perspective. Going to the temple and placing the problem at the feet of the deity is the solution from the Dimfi or theistic perspective. And of course that's not used in Western thinking. We don't go to the temple to solve mental problems. But in Hinduism we do. Solving the problem through meditation is the Shumif perspective, moving awareness into a happier state of mind and looking back and understanding the karmas. So those last 2 aren't usually used in a Western approach. Western approach favors the prescription drug and talking with a counselor. So as I'm saying, we're not trying to imply one method is better than the other. In helping a devotee, we use all 4 approaches. When everything is going fairly well in a devotee's life, we end up using just the Dimfi and Shumif perspectives. Meditation and theism. These 2 are the core of our Saiva Siddhanta philosophy, which is described as monistic theism, or a practice which emphasizes both temple worship, the theism, and meditation, the monism. Advice relates to going to the temple and worshiping Lord Ganesha, or meditation on certain Shum concepts. Oh, I think Gurudeva says in one of his writings, Ganesha is the great psychiatrist, something like that. So, going to Lord Ganesha. However, when a devotee is somewhat discouraged, we rely on Mulif, sharing the philosophical insights of Gurudeva. For example, everything is as it should be. Whatever you face is your own self-created karma. Lean on the power of your spine. This helps them become re-inspired to the point where they are able, through the practice of temple worship and meditation, to solve their own problems again. So sometimes Mulif, inspiring philosophy, is needed just to get someone out of a rut, get them out of a negative state of mind So they're positive enough to actually go to the temple or meditate and have it work. Sometimes Simnif advice is also given, such as how someone would benefit by exercising half an hour a day, losing weight, following a better diet, and so forth. So you can see we use Simnif as well, just that we don't generally think of it that way. Hatha yoga is Simnif. Vegetarian diet, proper breathing. Oh yeah, Rooster's in a mood, huh? Very inspired. And the fourth topic, Yoga Swami's words of our master. The legs cannot do the work of the hand. The mouth cannot do the work of the legs. Then which can be called great and which small? All are indispensable. And the question is, what does that mean to you? Oh, one answer is we should look at society from a mountaintop perspective and the value that each person in it is providing to make it function as a whole. So even if it's a simple task, it needs to be done in order for the whole to function, and it should be looked upon with respect. Oh, thank you very much.